past this week, right? Because I'm thinking Sunday, we won't be announcing any of that. That's right. So it's not Sunday. Lidgate, 7:30 in the morning, we are having our cleanup. We do 2 a year.
Yeah, and Reverend
And-
Diane's a captain.
Is she?
I hope I'm not.
Rita, just so you'll know, this little tidbit before we do this, Rita has a hard time doing it because when Rita's the leader, they are very strict. You have to stand there and delegate and do that. And then she gets in trouble because she's painting, and so does Diane. She's painting, and they do not like that at all. They don't want the leaders painting. Yes, it's very military. Are we filming? So, it's okay. It doesn't matter. They know who they are, and we love them, and they love us. So let's take a moment to relax into this space that we are in right here and right now, knowing that we have come together on purpose, and we've come together to just know more, feel more, and just be more than we could even imagine, and then some. So tonight, let's just have at it. Let's let whatever needs to be known, whatever needs to be heard will be heard, whatever needs to be said will be said. And with that, we just let it be, let it go, and enjoy Dr. Joe and his beautiful meditation. And so it is.
Take a moment and find your center. Inhale. Become aware of your breath. And exhale. And relax. It's time to be defined by a vision of the future instead of the memories of the past. And to move into a new state of being. And now, can you become aware of the space between your ears in space? And now, can you sense the space beyond your ears? In space. And can you move your attention to the space in the center of your throat. In space. And can you become aware of the energy of space around your throat, beyond your neck, in space. And now, can you rest your awareness in the space behind your breastbone, in space? And can you feel the volume of space beyond your shoulders, in space? And now, can you sense the space between your shoulders and the room you're in? In space. And can you become aware that you're aware in space? And now, what was that vision of the future that awaits you? Be defined by that intention and select that potential that already exists in the field. And allow that internal representation be where you're headed. Invest your energy into the future. And let the thought become the experience. And let the experience create the emotion. And can you teach your body emotionally how that future feels now? And move into a new state of being. Come on, open your heart and let your body respond to a new mind. And it's time to step in to that future now. What choices will you make today? What things will you do? What experiences await you? And how will they feel? Priming your brain and body into the future. stay in the feeling. Now, it's time to remind yourself of who you no longer want to be. What thoughts will you become conscious of that will never slip by your awareness today? What choices will you not make? What behaviors will you no longer demonstrate? What experiences will you stay away from? And what emotions and feelings will you no longer embrace? Will cause you to return back to feeling like the familiar self. Become the observer from a greater level of mind. And now, finally, it's time, one more time, to invest your energy into the future, combining a clear intention with an elevated emotion. Come on, open your heart and change your energy. And when you change your energy, you change your life. For whatever you broadcast into the field is your experiment with destiny. Being defined by a vision of the future instead of the memory of the past. means that you're ahead of your time. And take your hand and place it over your heart. And in a moment, take a breath and have compassion and care and kindness towards your beautiful self, giving thanks for a new life. And the longer you linger in gratitude, the more you draw your new life to you. And if in fact you emulated the divine today and made contact with it, that you ask for a sign from this consciousness, this loving intelligence, and that it bring it to you in a way that you least expect, that surprises you, and that it leaves no doubt that it came from this mind. And that you are inspired to do it again and again when it finds you in unexpected ways. And now bring your awareness back to a new body. To a new environment. And to a whole new time. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
And staying in this heart space, this wonderful atmosphere that has been created by us, through us, as us. I know that whatever vision, whatever desire has been placed in this quantum field has already been made manifest. So we celebrate this evening, celebrate Dr. Joe, celebrate each and every one of us as we continue this wonderful journey of discovery. And with gratitude in my heart, we simply say, and so it is. And the children are here. The children.
Come on, join the circle.
Come on.
Ron,
Come
you
on
too.
in.
Oh my gosh.
Has anyone noticed the younger version of our Ernest Holmes? Mm-hmm.
And that was when he was a young guy.
The reincarnation.
Don't tell Ernest that. All right. How's everybody doing? It's good to see you. It's hard to believe this is second to last class. Oh my God. What an amazing journey, right? So let's just have a quick check-in. What we're going to do tonight is we're going to spend some time on the lesson plan, and then we're going to break And then we're going to do the 4 presentations. Who is going tonight? Can you raise your hands again? Melissa, Chia, Heather, Charles. Was there anybody else? I only had 4. Okay. That's good. That'll be a good start. And then we'll go back to the lesson after that. So it'll be a nice little break. So check in. So anything that's come in, reality check with a big R. Anything that's come up or, yeah.
So the whole time we've been going through this class, I've been having an issue with one of my tenants that's been pretty radical and pretty upsetting in many ways. And so a lot of what I've been doing in my meditations is putting that into the quantum field and asking for the best resolve, for it to resolve in the best way for everyone concerned. And today I was mowing and I needed them to move their car, so I knocked on their door and asked them to move their car, and he came out and apologized to me profusely and said that he'd been having problems with getting custody of his son and that it had really affected him and that he was really sorry if it had, his problems had fallen off on me. So I felt that that was really a testament to the prayers that I've been giving, and also just putting it into the quantum field and asking for resolution in the best way possible. So I wanted to share that with you.
Oh, please. We were saying today it is so important to share our demonstrations of things so that people, so that we can know that this is working, that this stuff works. And Rita's going, where can I wear it? I go, this is the only place.
The only place I could think that I could wear it. I can't imagine standing up on Sunday and wearing this, or even going through town. I don't know, maybe. I don't know. If it was the right day, maybe Halloween or something.
Right.
Yeah. Anybody else want to talk?
Charles?
Hello, everyone. What I found was clarity in the meditations that I do, as far as projecting myself forward in the things that I want to have in my life. If I don't have a clarity, or I don't make a decision, which was something that I talked about with Patrick earlier. If I don't have a clarity or make a decision that I actually want to do that with all my heart and soul, then things are going to be murky, and it may seem as though there's more obstacles in the way, or there may be a lag as well. So the story goes as I'm writing this textbook, and when I made the decision, like I was going to devote a lot more time and a lot more energy to writing this textbook, people started coming out of the woodwork in order to help. So, psychotherapists and counselors and people that are involved in different modalities of therapy, they have come forward and started to help me with the research so I can validate the textbook. You know what I mean? And now things are flowing quite well. My friends that are also NLP practitioners are helping as well. So it's a thing to where the universe is now conspiring amazingly to help me get what I need to in order to be a blessing and more and make that vision that I have that's more clear come true. So it's pretty cool.
That's
Very
great.
cool.
That's great, Charles. Conspiring in your favor.
Anybody else want to talk?
Yeah, I have a little one. Like when you're a kid and you get treats from the teacher, mom or dad. I feel like the universe did that with me today. I had one of the things that I had been working on in my original choice to be peace to joy in every moment was I was working on triggers, you know, that would come up in interaction with people, and particularly a trigger that would take me into judgment and righteousness, right? And so I had an experience today. I had driven all the way to the other end of the island. Now that I've lived here long enough, I can say that like I mean it. I drove all the way to the other end of the island for an appointment and showed up, and the person wasn't there, and I got a text saying, oh, well, I'm going to be 15 minutes late because something had happened, and I had compassion, and that's fine. But then half an hour later, I see the person actually out jogging, okay? And it was one of those where my head kind of spun around, right, because I hadn't been given the truth, you know, clearly, and that might be what they were doing to handle it, but at any rate, right? And so my mind had a whole list of things it wanted to say. So I was able, which was very interesting. My body did something it never did before. My body waited to run chemicals until I'd had time to listen to the thoughts and then choose. So the thoughts came in and I went, yeah, there's truth. Yeah, I mean, I wrapped the thought in compassion awareness because that too is God, right? That's energy, right? So I wrapped that in awareness and I said, I hear the truth in what you're saying. I really hear you. I value what you're saying. I'm not going to choose to act from it right now, but I'm going to put it into the mix, into the mix. And what happened was my body didn't get triggered, like at all. Like I'm kind of checking, going, nothing. And what happened in the next 15 minutes, because I had chosen and I'd been choosing, I had 3, and I literally mean like one after the other, people reaching out to me saying, you know, I want to do this with you, and I want to do that with you, and I want to do this, and I want you to come on this, and I want you, and it was like 3 wildly joyful things manifest literally in 3 minutes. And I really felt like the universe want to give you a little pat on the head. Yeah, you know, yeah, good job. Yeah, it felt like a little blue ribbon you got. Like,
Rock star, rock star.
oh.
Can't hear you.
Oh, but it felt like a universal little pat on the head saying, you know, good job. Yeah, but I also really want to acknowledge my body because my body's been watching me do this for a long time and it didn't run the chemicals. And I'm so in awe of my body that my body's literally co-creating with me now going, well, give her a minute. Don't go there right yet because she's not going to end up there. So, you know? Yeah.
Good. Wow. We are
Great.
becoming masters.
Mastery. Self-mastery.
Well, taking this class and then doing flying solo back to back. So last Friday was flying solo, and a lot of emotions for each person presenting. And what I know is the next day and the next day was something unusual because I usually don't take afternoon naps, and wow, I went right down for long afternoon naps. And what I've been getting feelings of peace and what's the word I'm looking for? Just a wonderful sense of it's all okay. It's all okay. It's a resolution, maybe is the word I'm looking for. And I just think that's amazing because it's a very difficult thing for me to get up there and reveal a lot. And so between the 2 classes, it's been a powerful journey. So I'm grateful for my sleep, for feeling that it wasn't just needing sleep. I just needed to go within and let my brain absorb what's been going on. So I wanted to share that.
Sleep can be very healing. It's supposed to be anyway, right? Anybody else? Okay, so the next thing we want to go through is this. So we asked you to read this beautiful thing from the workbook that about faith and commitment, because we felt like it was appropriate given where we are in this program, how committed you are, and you know, and where your faith level is. So did anybody, hopefully you guys did it, and you have some words to tell us? Somebody that hasn't spoken yet?
Words of wisdom
Don't just
or
stare
just
at me.
words?
Yeah, Lori, okay. Because, I mean, the class is going to be over next week, and then we're going to be on our own for a while. We've got to know where we're at. But we're never really on our own.
It made me realize how important it is to really commit and believe it. You said something on Saturday in the treatment workshop about, you just, I don't remember how you said it, something about commanding, and just, so I've been kind of experimenting with that in my own, the things that I've been working on, and just, if you're not completely there, it's not going to really work. So to me, this faith and commitment, that's what it, right? I mean,
Right.
and there's a difference. Like, part of me this week was just, my daughter got through the whole heart attack thing with her dad, and she was calmed down, so I felt like I could just kind of relax and just kind of, like Rebecca, right? Roseanne, sorry. Just needing to go down to just kind of recover. But just that, how important solid faith and commitment, and to really commit to that and feel it, not just have an idea, but to feel it. That's important to me. I have to feel it. There's a difference.
Yeah, oh yeah, a big difference. When you feel it, it means you're embodying it.
Yeah, in
And
my
once
body.
you embody it, then it gets easier and easier.
Thank
Then it just
you.
becomes your second nature to come from that place. Like my daughter was saying. Yes.
Good morning, everyone. So, yeah, faith and commitment. The only thing I would add to that statement, and it's my experience, that my faith progressed from hope first, from hope. And then as I followed that hope with the plan of action, then I began to believe that I was on the right path. And the more I began to believe, the more convicted I became that the actions that I was taking would, bring me to that realization of knowing that this works. I mean, the things that I'm doing are taking me in the direction that I want to go, and they're not taking me in the opposite direction. But, it definitely has to have that affirmative spiritual, mental, emotional attitude that doesn't know an opposite. An opposite does not have any place in it. For me, is it has to work. It is working, and there was never a moment where it's not going to work. It never. There was never a moment that it's not going to work. I was just convicted that this is the thing that's going to move me from where I was to where I need to be. And it is a lifelong commitment for me to grow spiritually, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Like Ernest Holmes says, faith can be cultivated. It doesn't mean like it's not like necessarily that you have it like immediately. And that's the beauty and the promise is that it can be cultivated if we work on it. And I love that progresses from belief to conviction to realization, and then finally to knowing is where you want to get, right? But it is a process, right? Yes?
Yeah,
Would everybody agree?
absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. So for me, my journey of unfoldment, I have a lot of faith and conviction, and I realize it's having that despite things falling apart, and I have faith and conviction in my journey, but it's like to be able to go into the unknown and be in the unknown because you've left the old behind because it's not serving you anymore. So it's just to know, okay, I'm in the void here, and I have faith and conviction that it's fine. You know, I'm going to be led. I'm going to go to where I need to be because I'm going to attract that, and it's going to manifest.
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
What's the quote? It's like faith is taking the first step when you don't see the whole staircase, right? Yeah, I can't remember who said it, but it's sitting on my our refrigerator. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it is Martin Luther King. Yeah. DJ.
So I'm wondering how you respond when somebody feels like their faith is shaken. Like, what if that first step isn't even there? I mean, I was in that place before. I'm personally not in it right now, but a dear friend of mine is, and I'm just wondering what can you say to help? Is there something that you could say that would support, you know, getting the first step, taking that first step into faith, I guess?
Well, for me, first of all, you can't force somebody to have faith, right? But you can see them in that highest light, and you can encourage them about how you feel about them, but without pressing your beliefs on them or something. But you can't like direct somebody to have faith, but you can share your experience and what you feel, and that can be a comfort to people. I know I've sat with people that are going through horrendous stuff, and I don't try to like change them or anything. Sometimes just listening and just being love, a presence of love, will change everything, you know, without trying to instruct or, you know, or suggest or any of those things, but just to be with someone and for them to know that you're always there for them, no matter what, you know, without trying to change them or change their experience, and value their feelings and whatever they're feeling. Do you have something to add?
Well, I think it is. I mean, you said yourself, you know, you had been through it. You're not in it now. And it's not that misery enjoys company, but it is nice to have the empathy to be able to say, you know, I know right now it feels as though you're just in an empty tube, but you know what? I'm here. I'm going through it now with a very good friend of ours that's in hospice right now. And I got on the phone for the first time since hospice. And first of all, once you get past your own shock of your friend, but to actually just sit there and just go, I know all of you are going to find this hard to believe, but I didn't know what to say. So, and the phone is hard because, you know, you don't get to have that thing. And she's in between, you know, she's in this philosophy, and it's just like, you know, she's in between that beautiful thing about shit, what did I do, down to, you know, how can I mean, I had faith, and then this is what happened to me, and so we have that. And two, I don't know how to let go. I don't know how to go into the unknown. And so all we can do, and there's a lot of shaken faith there. And here's the other piece of, my faith was a little shaken. My faith was for a moment till I remembered who I was again. And so that's the best thing I think I can do, we can do, is to say, I hear you. And not that, oh, this is going to be the wonderful journey. And we've had, she's been a prayer partner of mine for 15 years, 10, 15 years. And we've had really like, go for it, go for it. This was not that time. This was that time of going, wow, how are you feeling? And she said, I don't know right now. And I said, wow, let's just sit in the I don't know. You know, so I think it's difficult. I think that this whole idea of shaken faith is very common. And as Ron was talking about hope, in our philosophy we say hope is better than despair, because hope is what does get people to the next place of knowing. But once again, you want us on the other side knowing. Your friend, the best thing you can do for your friend is to be on the side of knowing. That no matter what is occurring, you can see beyond the shakenness and see her coming through just like you did when you had shaken, when your faith was shaken. That's the best we can do for one another. Thank you. That's a very important one, because we always like that idea, right? Of just that, you know, I have faith. And by the way, faith is really kind of easy when things are going really good. You know, it's like, I have the faith of a mustard seed. Well, of course you do, because everything's paid, everything's done, and you know, your relationships. But faith is really, I think, used and utilized for when it's not going that way. That's when it truly is tested.
Yeah, so it's best to build your faith
Yes,
while you're
yes.
while you're having a great life and things are going really well, and
Right.
really build it then. It's called being prayed up, right?
Prayed
Yes,
up.
Heather.
I was just going to share that actually I had, well, several experiences this last week that really shook my faith. And in particular, yesterday, I woke up, I just had this bad feeling from the start, and the day just kind of progressed. And I mean, it literally got so bad that on my way home from work, I was screaming at the top of my lungs, and it takes a lot for me to yell. But I was screaming, trying to do a treatment. And I kept thinking, well, there's some feeling there, but I don't think this is the right kind of feeling. But it was, and I just kept going, God, you know, I was in this place where I was feeling so good, and I was having faith, and I thought things were going right, and then it just all kind of fell apart. But then I just said, you know what, maybe this is kind of, I don't want to say test, but that's how I was looking at it, of like, just keep trusting. Just know that it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And on the way here, I actually, the Bob Marley song came on, and it was, every little thing's gonna be okay. So,
There's that
anyways,
sign
just-
from Joe Dispenza there.
yeah, so I just wanted to share that because it just, you know, I was there just recently where it was shaken. But
And you know, screaming is really okay, because screaming is feeling, right? Go ahead.
And when you like stuff like that happens, I call it the last gasp of a dying fear, like because you're changing and things look even bigger when you're changing because all this shit comes up, and it's not even a test. It's just like, because now you see the light, the darkness just like shows its face even stronger. So I think in your case, it's just, you know, call on someone that can you know, treat with you. And like when you get up and you have those feelings, if you can do, like, sit there and be, don't get up until you can feel differently, until you can feed yourself all the like good vibes of the things that are going right in your life and all of that it could possibly help too. But you know, stuff happens, and it's just a matter of how we deal with it, and just realize sometimes everything has to fall apart before it comes back together. But I totally understand how, you know, it can feel horrible, and it can feel like, oh my God, I had so much faith. Why did this happen? But the other thing is, we can't control other people. Just always remember that. But we can control our reaction, and we can have, you know, a trust that the universe is backing us. So if everything is, if we're praying and we're treating and we're doing all that stuff, everything that's showing up has to be something that's good, that's coming up to be healed. So sometimes that stuff comes up to let us know, oh, like, what more do I have to know? What more do I have to, you know, to know, I guess.
I think Heather too was
So-
really powerful
doing
about
great,
that, is
though.
that when Heather said everything was going really good. So what that tells us is that it can return to that state. That's the greatest part. It's only when we feel and get into a state of that nothing has ever been good, it never will be good, but everything was going good. So that's something we can remember when we're being shaken, especially, to go, it can return to that. It can return to that. But the biggest thing is just to feel it, scream it. The law,
That's
Spirit,
great.
God could care less the tone of your voice. It just says, what do you want, baby? I'm here. I'm here. And you're going, right now, I just want to say, shut up. Yeah. So
It's
Go
all
ahead.
natural to feel that way. It's not like you know, it's all natural to have all those doubts come up and everything. It's just, it's part of the journey. And just like I said, call on people that can be strong for you. And, you know, any of our practitioners will treat with you, for you, We don't charge for
Sometimes,
treatments.
sometimes
All right.
it's just no. Sometimes it's
It's
good
just-
just to call
Yeah.
and get on the phone and go. I don't care who's out there, but I this is what I need right now. And the moment you say that, the phone isn't really even necessary because you've already
Right, you've
stated
already
and made
stated.
it clear what it is that you want. So then everything will shift for you. So there you go.
Okay, core concept 9. These are the last 2 core concepts. I love this one. Immortality is a universal principle, not a belief or a bargain made with the universe for good behavior.
I love this.
God knows only life, its eternal continuity, evolution, and expansion. That is the belief of the science-minded spirit about whatever you want to call death, is that it is impossible because life, I mean, we already know energy can't die. It only can transmute. So if we're energy, then we can't die. We can only, there's only life. So that's that. And then it says the way it works, death is a human concept, not a divine idea. The essence of every human is the incarnation of God at the center of his or her being. This essence is eternal and changeless, the divine spark that can no more die than God can die.
There it is.
So
So-
where do you stand on that? Just talk to
So
yourselves.
it's really good because
one-
tonight you guys all mixed yourselves up tonight, so we're not in the same seats, everybody. So 2, 2, 2,
This is-
2, 2, 2, threesome,
and a threesome. Okay, just let's make it like.
as it were.
All right.
So I agree that energy doesn't die, it transforms itself into something else. I don't know if it's reincarnation. To me, it's an interesting thought. But I don't care, because what I know is when we get to that place, if we have conscious thought, it will be making perfect sense. And I believe that so much, and Rob and I witnessed his mother dying, and she went someplace, and she spoke to that spirit in the room, and after we witnessed it, I saw her ran. Yeah, I feel
Give them just a little bit. I can usually tell. What? So I
I
can
want them all
usually-
to talk. I wish they just had one spokesperson, but I guess
They do somewhat.
And I think reincarnation is really a sensible idea, and it may be the absolute truth, and I just can't say, yes, it is. Well, wait until I find out. And, but,
Regardless, it's energy transfer, whatever it transfers through, we don't know. We're not there yet.
right, but it's all gonna be fine. It's not, I mean, the process of dying makes
Tell them they have a minute left.
just take about another minute.
Okie dokie.
Hey, let's
bring
hear
it on
from
up.
you. Let's start with this threesome over here. Let's come back. Come on back. What do you know? Who wants to talk? Just one person?
Sure. We all have faith in this. We have no doubt that energy is transferred, essentially, when the human form dies away. We have different conceptions a little bit about what that might look like, although energy is still energy, and the energy doesn't die.
So exactly. We're right on your thing.
We had a really deep discussion. And we decided that when we pass, it's going to be like a really incredible global event for us. And very, very wonderful.
I always look at it kind of like, when a baby is born here, it was all these people greeting it. How do you know when we die, same thing. We go down the channel and, hey, it was good to see you. And I just think it's going to be a whole other new adventure. It's going to be a beautiful thing. Because nothing dies.
That's great.
Yeah, I felt really grateful that I had an experience of immortality happening right in my presence, somebody transitioning and leaving the body behind and going forward. So I totally had that, that belief. And then we also talked about, and for those of us that are still living, it's, we grieve, and, I just have another friend that's newly in hospice too. And, we've talked about people that we knew that had died, and, but we know, we do know that they're still out there somewhere.
Does it, just a peek-in question here, does it make knowing that and not knowing the details of how it happens, does that make you less afraid of dying?
Oh, totally. I
Yeah.
have no fear of death. I mean, I really want to live, and I'm want to live a long time. But as far as if I know, it's time to transition for me, I will go peacefully.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Just to dab to that.
Sure.
I feel like I'm on my way to that, but I still have fear. So it's like a goal of mine to really work on that while I'm alive, so that I can die completely trusting and peaceful.
Right. Because you're fully just living, and you wouldn't, death wouldn't even be a part of the concept because you're just so fully living, you would just continue living. Interesting. Go ahead.
And what was really surprising to me was that there is a TED Talk by a surgeon ER surgeon who has been around many, many deaths. And he said that people who have been around a lot of deaths have no fear of death. So I think that that's a cool thing, and that's why I'm moving into doing more things around with dying people and that sort of thing. So.
We're both kind of heavy.
All right, do you want to not say anything? It's okay, you don't have to.
It's,
You don't have to.
I know. And I want to try. Because in my face today was a doctor saying, this is a life and death situation. And so I find myself reaching out to hold on and getting upset about certain responses and trying to make it be my way. And so I feel pain in my heart. I moved out of it during the meditation. I met myself, who I want to be, and we embraced. But it's very fragile, so I'm flipping back and forth. But change is always going on, whether it's physical leaving or whether it's just a situation. It's always going on. We're always getting practice And when we go to sleep at night, we leave. So I believe in immortality. I just don't have a lot of faith in my emotions right now to
Good.
fill it up.
Good.
And it's not supposed to be like, oh, well, I'm just not afraid of death, and I'm, don't care if that person leaves or whatever. No, it's deeply within us. So I think like Dr. Jim Lockhart, who lost his daughter when she was 16, used to say, what I knew was there was a bottom to my grief. There was a bottom. I could grieve and I could cry and scream, but there was a bottom to it because of my faith. And I knew when I was ready that it would be there for me. It would be there. And that I was safe to do all the screaming and crying and anything else I needed to do. So, I don't know. All of us have different trials. Anybody want to?
Heather's still doing it.
I just was sharing that I really believe in, soul contracts and different lives, whether it be past lives or reincarnation. I've lost quite a few people that were close to me. It's really hard to let go because you're never going to see them again in that form. But I do believe that I will see them again. And actually, I just was sharing that before my daughter was born, one of my daughters, I actually was doing some energy work, and the woman, while I was pregnant, shared with me that we didn't talk at all while she was doing this work, and she shared with me that she got this vision that she asked me if I lost somebody close to me recently, and I said, yes, my brother. And she said, your brother is coming back to be with you. And so my daughter is named after my brother. But it's not going to be the same person that you know. So you might see like little things that remind you, but it's going to be somebody different.
So I had this experience a couple of days ago, just kind of flashed in my mind, and it's in regards to like the divine doesn't die. Nothing dies, it just changes. And it was in the form of like leaves, just leaves. When they fall off the tree, they change. And there's two things you can do with them. You can rake them up, put them in a trash bag, send them to the dump, or you can mulch them and put them back into the ground or in the soil, and then they help. They come back to life. They become part of a different part of life, And so, for me, like, I'm not afraid to die, because I know I'm gonna change into something. There's gonna be some kind of transformation, some kind of transmutation, because I've had like past life concept, ideas, dreams, moments where, I've been in a different time and a different lifestyle, and, and it's like so real, but it's not constant. It's not all the time. And it's, it wasn't drug induced. Let me put that out there, just so you know. Yeah. So I'm ready for the next stage. I'm ready for the next stage, whatever it's going to be. Because change is not hard, just resistance to change makes it hard.
Elizabeth brought up a lovely garden analogy that I could certainly relate to, and that was she thinks about the flower fading and turning into something else. And we love the flower, and it's so beautiful, but then it lets go of all of its petals, and it becomes the fruit. And then the fruit goes away, and there's just the seeds left, and the seeds go away, and then they become a plant, and it starts all over again. But even if they don't grow into a plant, like Ron was talking about, they turn into something else. But what can be challenging for us as humans is acceptance of the transition, whatever it is. You know, whether it's life falling together when it seems like it's falling apart, or whether it's, letting go of a loved one, or letting go of our own abilities to do something we've always done, or, even when I gave up my forestry degree, I grieved that because I was no longer going to be that person. And that's a shift and a change. But I do know that the divine spark is always there, and whatever body it's housed in, whether it's a career or a relationship or a person or another living thing, that's the part, God expressing as that changes. But the acceptance piece can be difficult as a human, that we're not going to be here in this form all the time. Yeah.
That's a good point that you made about the forestry or anything. I mean, we've all, breakups, people that you've been, parts of your, you leave school, it's like a death, because you get so used to a certain way. So you're right, there's a constant death, what we call death, and rebirthing constantly happening, and a constant part of grieving, which is very healthy. It gets us to the next.
What comes to me to share around this when I was talking to Ron is that I call myself God's slow learner because I've had 3 near-death experiences, or actually dying, first on a hospital table, and then as a result of things that I caught on the other side of it in the next few years. And so the first time it happened, I was on an operating table. They were removing my uterus, and something happened. And I had, at that point, never been to a church, never opened a psychology book. I was the left brain brilliant executive, totally. And I found myself, I was pulled out of my body, and I found myself, and there are lots of accounts of this, but I found myself looking at my body on the operating table. And, as a bright person, my first aha was, holy shit, I must not be my body. Because what I perceive when I think the word I, what I'm aware of with I, is actually me as consciousness, and it was no different. There was no difference. And it just rocked me. My whole life changed. I just went, and in the next 2, the aha that I got was what dies and what doesn't die, And so what dies is the body, and what dies is the personality, the particular limitations and programs, that we put together. But the awareness and the consciousness, is what lives. And so what I want to say is that in this room, in my experience, we have all been dying. Every time you do that Joe Dispenza meditation, that is exactly what I experienced every time I left my body. Exactly that. Dropping the identification with body, then dropping the identification with environment, right? And then dropping the identification with time. So I want to say a weird thing and say, you've already done it. And guess what? You loved it. Do you know? So anyway, that's my share.
Yeah, I was going to say, I remember the missile crisis that happened a while back. Yeah, I'm sitting there at the table and I'm having a cup of coffee and we got 10 minutes. And I'm like, what am I going to do? And it kind of like, wow, okay. See you later. And that was that brought up something, and that was that in my family and the people that I know, no one has gone easy except my one grandmother. And she passed away in her rocking chair at night. So I've decided that the suffering is optional. I want to go like that.
So it is. but not soon, please. Okay, this next one we're going to just do together, just because of time. So Patrick, why don't you read it?
So I love this picture, by the way. I don't know why, but it's just something about it. It's just, you could probably look at it all day and then figure out a whole bunch of stuff from it. But the thing itself, the mystic concept of the cosmic Christ is not that of a person, but of a principle, a universal presence, the universal image of God present in all creation, the pattern that connects. How does it work? Each human partakes of the Christ nature to the degree that the cosmic Christ is recognized and revealed through him or her. To that degree, he or she becomes the Christ. If anyone ever asks you, what we believe in the Jesus the Christ, this is what we believe is in the Christ consciousness. I mean, we, meaning religious science, believes that we are this cosmic, this thing that they talk about in Christianity and religion, which is so wonderful, that this Jesus Christ, as it were, left this consciousness. But I don't think he left a consciousness. I think he just left the information that we could, that it was always inside of us. And it was always, he just was the most beautiful messenger of who we truly are. And so it wasn't that he had the consciousness and then he says, I'm dying, so you can take all of mine. I think it was just a reminder of that Christ consciousness.
So we all have this. It's just to the degree that we recognize it. It's our God self. It's our highest self. It's our being in the quantum field. It's the love. It's all of that. And
look at
we
that
all
ecstasy.
have that opportunity. I know. I love
it's
that
like
picture.
pure ecstasy of that feeling of allowing you and to be so open that oh my God, it's just incredible.